What would you do if you started hearing disembodied voices calling out your name? Would you ever try to save a stranger from a terrible fate? Is it possible for a person to channel spirits for 5 months at a time? Today, we test the believability of the Watseka wonder, the possession of Lurancy Vennum.
Welcome to Believing the Bizarre,
Where we dive into the unknown and the unusual
and tell you whether or not we find it believable.
That is right. Happy Tuesday. Happy new episode. But Charlie, you know what's not happy?
Please tell me.
What not happy? What's not happy is the air quality about an hour away from here.
Yes, the disaster.
The East Palestine train derailment. And this is like the second big train thing to happen in Ohio, because there was the Ashtabula one.
Oh yeah, that one's not as many people know about that.
It's had more time, but I feel like not many people know about this one either. Now, I feel like every day it is spreading a little bit more, even though this has been happening since February. I'm not going to dwell on this too long, but I just want to say, I know that people are like reporting, oh, they shut down this unidentified thing over Alaska. Ooh, there's this weird light. And normally that's the stuff that we eat up. But right now, nothing seems more pertinent or critical than this potentially very, very dangerous long-term ecological disaster.
Well, yeah, we've got our very own crisis
That's
right here.
1 hour away.
Yeah, in East Palestine.
East Palestine. It's like I said, it's an hour from here. Train derailed. No idea why they were carrying all these chemicals. I have no idea what these chemicals are even for. I don't know what they're supposed to do. Instead of an explosion, they did a controlled burning, but it's releasing the stuff, all these chemicals in the atmosphere. Yeah. It's pairing with hydrogen, which can cause acid rain. If you look up, first of all, I hope this is not the first time you're hearing about it. But two, look at the pictures. Have you seen any of the ones from people in planes looking down?
I've seen them. They're insane. It looks like God is frowning.
Yes, it's not good. I totally recommend everybody at least being aware of it, because animals are dying, fish are dying. Yeah. This is something that I feel like people need to pay it in our area. A lawyer actually put out like a 200-mile radius, and they were like, document any symptoms you might feel in the next couple years.
Two of my very close friends used to live very close.
Is that Justin?
Yeah, Justin and Shantae.
Yeah.
Used to live very close to this. Thankfully, a year ago, they moved away.
Yeah.
But oh my God.
Scary stuff. So I don't want to dwell on it too much. This is for entertainment. Normally, we don't let the real world seep in here too much, but I just want to at least, we have an opportunity to talk about it, so I want to talk about it for a minute.
Yeah.
But that said, let's move on to something that happened about 150 years ago.
Okay.
Talking about possession, talking about spooky noises and voices and trances and all that crazy stuff that happens.
I love talking about this stuff.
Of course. It's why we're doing it. So, as you could tell by the title, it involves a girl named Lurancy.
Lurancy Vennum.
Lurancy Vennum.
What a great name.
That's a really good name.
It's like, I don't want to mess with Lurancy.
Lurancy, no.
Her name is Venom.
Yeah, she's probably got a great
cut. Uppercut. Haymaker.
What is this? It's not a jab. Is that a jab?
Yeah.
I bet she's got a great one. Before we get into Lurancy, I know we've been kind of doing this with our listener submissions, but there is a pre-story to Lurancy, and I promise down the road it's going to make sense. But before we get to Lurancy, I want to talk about Mary Roff.
Okay.
And as we get into this, I just want to say my sources off the jump. I used bumpinthenight.net. I hope they saved a bunch of money by going .net instead of .com. Yeah. Travel Channel, Mysterious Universe, National Library of Medicine, and Dark Histories.
Those are good ones.
Yeah, so that's where all this information came from. So if it's wrong, blame them. All right, so let's go back to the 1860s, and we're going to talk about Mary Roff for a second. So Mary Roff, even as a baby, had epileptic fits, and these convulsions only got worse as she got older. And when she got old enough to speak, she told her parents that she constantly heard voices and was able to speak with these spirits during these trances. And so during these trances or spells, she would lose consciousness or awareness of her surroundings.
That's a bad power to have. It's not a good power.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's like, yes, I can do this when I'm unconscious. But this was just the beginning of her abilities. Apparently, she was also able to read a book while being completely blindfolded.
I was going to say I can read a book.
Blindfolded?
No.
Audiobook.
Yeah.
And she would have hour-long fits where she literally had so much strength, so much power, and her body convulsed so badly that it would take multiple men to hold her down.
She's doing protein? Like, what's going on?
She's on AG athletic greens. Yeah. But that's not what you're supposed to do during okay, I'm not saying she has epilepsy, but I know during those seizures you're supposed to clear space out. You're not supposed to hold them down. But this is 1860, so it's
like, stop shaking.
Oh, she's bleeding, get the leech. It's a while ago.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, her family and her doctors had no idea what was wrong with her, no idea what to do. And so they did what a lot of people did in the 1860s is they buried their problem and they threw her into an asylum.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And even there, she continued hearing voices and she complained about a deep pressure in her head. And it got so severe that she started trying to cut herself as a way to remove and kind of release this unbearable pressure.
Doctor's like, that's pretty bad. He just moved on.
I don't know how she got a knife is my concern.
Stolen.
But unfortunately, she actually fatally cut herself with a razor and she died at the age of 19 in 1865.
From her head.
Didn't say where with the razor.
Okay.
I'll be honest, my initial reading, I thought it was the wrist, but it was a secondary source where I heard about the pressure in the head. So there's no details. I don't know if I want to know or say those details, but she did die by cut. So
I know that you bleed a lot from your head.
There's a lot of blood up there. There's some pretty important things going on up there. So she died, very sad. This sent her family and especially her father, Asa, into a deep depression.
Asa?
Asa. A-S-A. Yeah.
That's a nice name.
Asa Roff. Lurancy Vennum. Let's go back to some 1800 names.
I like those names.
Yes. But with that said, that's the pre-story. That's the preamble. Promise it'll come back into play. It's like when you're watching a movie and it's out of order and you're like, why did I see that scene? And then like in the middle of the second act, you're like, oh, it's that guy. We'll get there. All right. Lurancy Vennum. So this takes place in Watseka, Illinois.
Watseka.
Proudly.
I just heard about Watseka earlier.
Like an hour ago.
Less than that.
5 minutes ago?
5 minutes ago.
On our quiz, which is on Patreon. This is every month we take one episode that isn't a listener submission, turn it into a quiz. I quiz Charlie on this episode.
Yeah.
The only way you can find out what happened is by checking out the Patreon.
I will say it was a buzzer beater.
It was. It came down to the very end, which is exactly how we want it to be. There's been a lot of bad blowouts in the NBA, but that's neither here nor there. And I did look up how to say Watseka. Proudly. And this took place a little bit after Mary Roff passed away. So she passed away in 1865. This is 1877. So we're about a little over a decade later, 12 years.
Yeah, that's a while.
Watseka is a rural, peaceful town. I don't know if it's the same. At the time, it was characterized by kind of like a small-knit community. Like the neighbors knew each other well. Everyone got along. Nothing really bad happened, but everybody kind of knew what was going down.
About 4 houses.
Yeah, probably. 1 apartment building. But all that changed in the summer of 1877. Now, Lurancy Vennum was a young girl, reportedly 13 years old at the time. I say reportedly because I saw a couple articles that said 14, but I saw more that said 13, so majority wins. Everything on the outside seemed very normal, very healthy with Lurancy, and no one suspected any foul play. However, one day, Lurancy went to her mother and told her that she was having trouble sleeping. When her mother asked her what she meant, Lurancy said that she would hear voices desperately calling out her name. Rancy, which is short for Lurancy, I would assume, which means they're already on like
first name basis.
Nickname basis, I would say. Yeah. It's like, like your wife, like they're not saying Stephanie, they're saying Steph.
Yeah.
Like, well, hey.
it's more personal.
By the way, happy birthday, Steph. Yeah.
Today.
It's today we're recording.
But yeah.
In the past.
I was going to say her mom was going to give her like some old school, like go to sleep recipes, like my grandma's recipes, like have a shot of Jack and then drink buttermilk.
Oh, sounds disgusting.
Yeah.
It's like I didn't sleep. I just vomited everywhere. But those voices, the rancy, it wasn't when she was sleeping. It was while she was laying down in her bed, wide awake, frightened, like not drifting off, not starting to fall asleep, very conscious, laying down voices. And she could move. This wasn't sleep paralysis. This isn't like she's having any type of encounter with that. This is literally just something she's hearing, an auditory thing. And she looked around her room and her hands are shaking. She's gripping the blankets, trying to identify the source of this disembodied voice, but there was no one there. And it was these voices that she heard calling out her name that prevented her from falling asleep and essentially leaving her too afraid to fall asleep. So naturally, and let me tell you, I get it. The lack of sleep took a toll on her, and she was sleep deprived, and she started becoming ill. About a week after telling her mother about the voices, Lurancy was helping her stitch a broken seam on a carpet when Lurancy stood up and just very simply told her mom, "I'm not feeling well." A moment later, she fainted and didn't regain consciousness for 5 hours.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's her body shut down.
So they threw her in her asylum. Just kidding. Just playing. Naturally, they freaked out and they waited. They I don't know what they did. They might have tried shaking her. They might have just sat down and said, "Oh." But she came back five hours later, and they were hoping that the worst was behind them. But based on the fact that we're talking about on this podcast, you know that's not the case. Shortly after that incident and telling her mom about the voices, Lurancy started developing epileptic seizures and really, really immense stomach pains, abdominal pains, like just all over.
Mm.
And in her unconscious state during these trances, she started to murmur and whisper about strange visions of beings that she just referred to as, quote, angels.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That's really bad. That's like, oh, you could see that in a horror movie. It's like, oh, the angels are coming. I'm sure they're good.
It's all good. They have white wings.
Oh, she's doomed.
Some reports claim that while not everything she said was audible, her language was switching back and forth between different languages.
Does it say which ones?
Doesn't say which ones. I don't think they could identify what it was.
Okay.
It's not like they had, like it was her mom, her dad, one German, one Russian, one guy who knew Latin. They were just hanging out. It was weird. They're watching the game. No, they could tell it wasn't English, but they couldn't identify what it was. When she would awaken from her fainting spell, her seizure, she would have no recollection of what she said. So she would have the visions and she would retain kind of what she experienced, but she didn't retain what was kind of like so she kept the internal, but she didn't remember the external, like what she kind of projected, what she put out, what she said, those things, she didn't remember. It was just kind of like what she experienced.
Okay. It's interesting.
Yes. The only thing really is like those visions, the angels in heaven. She said she saw heaven. And these would go on for hours at a time. And she would just sprawl out on the ground, have this seizure only to lose consciousness for quite a while. Just scary. I mean, even if it's not supernatural.
It's not good. You're not supposed to be unconscious for more than like a couple seconds, typically.
Yeah. And this belief in Lurancy switched from thinking that she was seeing angels in heaven to believing that she was seeing other spirits. So people. Not demons, which is something I think we should discuss in the discussion because, and you mentioned this in our quiz on Patreon, typically when you think possession, you do think demonic activity.
Yeah.
Which is not the case, or at least it's not believed to be the case in this episode. But I think I want to talk about that a little bit later. So put a pin in that. But around that time, this is something that it was quoted that she said, quote, "There were persons in my room last night and they called out to me, and I felt their breath on my face. I saw heaven and angels and a lot of other ghosts who talked to me." Unquote.
Oh, man.
That's like right in your face if you're feeling breath. I don't ever want to feel anyone's breath on me, but you really don't want there to be no one there and you're feeling breath.
Right. I was teaching, and I felt a child's breath in my hand. I was
just
like,
punch him.
I was like,
should have been like Brainy and Helga. Boom.
No, I didn't.
That's probably for the best. So she started pointing out other spirits in the room and acknowledging them. And these are spirits, obviously, that her family could not see.
She's like, there,
everywhere.
Oh,
under the table, in your bedroom. So this is where it's starting to like seep into like beyond just the unconscious.
Yeah.
Because it was still like trances, but she would just become hyper fixated on these spirits and what she was experiencing.
It's like she's seen the I don't know the real name for it because the herp.
Oh, the further?
It's like she's seen the further.
We call it the
in real life.
Yeah.
Forgot the name of it.
From Insidious.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like she's seen that and she's like focusing on seeing these.
Spooky. I've thought about that before. It's like if you had the power, like right now, you and me are in this attic alone.
Yeah.
But if we had the powers to see, like imagine if there's like 15 people in here with us.
Just listening to the podcast. Yeah. Like you guys are fans?
Join our Patreon. But if you really think about it, it's absolutely terrifying.
Yes.
So here are some common behaviors and characteristics of Lurancy's trances and during this time period. Unusual physical movements. Lurancy was reported to have experienced sudden, uncontrollable movements such as convulsions, twitching, and tremors. Changes in speech. She was said to have experienced sudden and dramatic changes, including speaking different voices, using different languages that they assumed that she was previously not familiar with. Altered consciousness. Lurancy was reported to have experienced altered states of consciousness, including periods of unconsciousness and catatonia. Unusual displays of strength. Lurancy was said to have displayed sudden and unnatural displays of strength, such as lifting heavy objects with ease and resisting the attempts of multiple people to hold her down.
She's like, Dad, I'm feeling it. She throws her barbell and goes, ah!
Catch, Dad.
It's like 1,000 pounds. Pumps it out.
So all this is happening. Obviously, it upset, disturbed her family. They care about her. They want what's best for her. But the fact that the frequency of these events and these experiences were happening more and more, it was really alarming to the family. So at this point, they felt they had a really big decision to make for the sake of their daughter and her well-being. They initially took her to a doctor or medical professional, which, they should do. But after various examinations and tests, they were unable to identify any sort of illness with her. There was no diagnosis. So that left the family with a very heartbreaking decision. They were considering putting her into a mental institution, an asylum.
Yeah, those are not good, especially back then.
Well, yeah, and I do want to note, and I wrote it in here, it makes it seem like a dun-dun-dun, they're sending her to a mental institution, which at the time was like the insane asylum.
Mm-hmm.
That's obviously not to say there's anything wrong now with like going to a mental health center, going to a psychiatric facility.
Right.
I feel like in the last like 30 years, we've really have honed in on how important mental health is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think anybody who is feeling that strain or that burnout should get help.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure, like, I don't want this feeling like a negative to come out that way.
It's negative in this context because that's scary. That's almost a death sentence.
Well, it's like they're keeping you away from the world, Yeah. It's like lock them away.
Conditions are terrible.
Yeah. You never leave. Conditions are bad. You were treated poorly. I just want to make sure that it's not like, mental health.
That's not what it is.
Yep.
It's a scary place.
So obviously her family didn't really want to do it, but they were feeling, and this really shouldn't matter, they were feeling outside pressure too. Because remember, this is like a quiet, connected community. And Lurancy's situation was pretty much anything but normal. The family, Lurancy's behavior and symptoms became kind of like the town gossip, which makes sense, but it sucks if it kind of pushed them to making a decision they didn't want to do. And even people in the town were like, yeah, you should send her. Like, she should go. Like, get her.
Can you imagine going shopping and some lady comes like, hey.
Oh, she's still here?
Send your daughter away. Yeah. Well, good night.
Corn's on sale. And unfortunately, her parents actually made the preparations for Lurancy to go.
Wow, they're close.
However, at the last second, it's like wrestling when you hear the music break. Asa Roff, Mary's father, caught wind of this and decided to intervene.
It's Asa Roth coming into the ring.
That's right. The two stories merge. We got Mary, Roff's father, coming in, and we have Lurancy dealing with these trances, the situation, these voices, the convulsions, almost sent to an insane asylum. And remember, Asa sent his daughter, maybe reluctantly, maybe not, and she killed herself, or she died.
Yeah.
She's no longer with us. So Asa asked to speak with Lurancy's parents before they sent her away. He told them about his daughter, Mary, and how she had very similar experiences like Lurancy, and how much regret he felt for sending her away.
Absolutely. I can't even imagine the amount of regret he would have. It would almost feel like he killed her, probably.
This is probably like that sliver of hope where it's like, okay, I couldn't save my daughter, but I'm not going to idly sit by and see it happen to someone else's daughter if there's at least something I can do about it.
Yeah.
And since the passing of Mary, Asa became a devout follower of Spiritism. I've also heard spiritualism. I don't know if they're interchangeable. I've seen them both in the articles, so I just want to kind of put them side by side. And he believed that Mary wasn't insane at all. Instead, he believed that Mary, very much like Lurancy, had a unique gift. He believed that they were both spirit mediums, albeit untrained spirit mediums. He thought they were misunderstood by the locals, by friends and family, and all those people that mistook their gift as an illness. due to the girls struggling to hone their abilities at such young ages.
Mary's like, about 14 years a little late.
Thanks, Dad. He begged them not to take Lurancy away to the asylum, if for no other reason than her well-being and her life. The parents understood and they appreciated his empathy, but they really didn't know another solution. They already tried going to a doctor. And Asa mentioned that he knew a physician who was also a spiritist, Dr. E. Winchester Stevens, that could help alleviate some of her painful and disturbing symptoms. He was apparently regarded as like a very cultured, a very religious and empathetic physician, and I guess well known for his spiritualistic beliefs. So, for the sake of their daughter, Lurancy, the Vennum family accepted to let her meet with Dr. Stevens. So let's move on to Lurancy and her meetings with Dr. Stevens. So on her very first meeting with Dr. Stevens, he noted that her behavior was definitely unusual. He described her as, quote, curled up on the chair, eyes staring, looking in every way like an old hag.
Oh, no.
Unquote. Damn.
Oh, she looks haunted.
She looks spooky. He's like, are you sure you don't want to send her to the insane asylum?
Oh, man.
I'm just kidding. He definitely didn't say
Not a good look.
No. And it was common during their meetings for Lurancy to launch into these trances and claim to be possessed by various spirits. She would change her voice. She would change her mannerisms. He noted that she would go from sad and morose to almost instantly joyful, and claiming that she was on happy trips to the heavens and angels. On one occasion, she said that she was Katrina Hogan, a 63-year-old woman from Germany, and another time she became a young boy called Willie Canning, and during these trances, she was able to give incredibly vivid portrayals of these people's lives. She even started making predictions about future events. She had a little Baba Vanga on her, which ranged from earthquakes to hurricanes. No idea if any of these came true. But she was divulging information about people that she really had no business knowing. Additional people that she claimed to be include Caroline Eaton, a deceased woman who apparently died from a fall, and Sarah Renico, a woman who said she died from a heart attack.
When she was Hogan, she was like, yes, doctor, thank you for coming to see me, brother.
Oh, gosh. Okay, I didn't get the Rock one last time, but I get the Hulk Hogan one this time.
That one's too easy.
But there was one particular session that was very different from the rest. Like usual, Lurancy entered her trance and seemed to be possessed by a spirit. That spirit told Lurancy that she was a young, dead woman who claimed that she could actually help Lurancy.
That's sketchy.
Unlike the other meetings where Lurancy would snap back into herself post-trance and begin to try to put these pieces together, what she experienced with Dr. Stevens, this time was different. She wasn't like herself. Her behavior was different. Her demeanor was different. Mannerisms were different. It was like it wasn't Lurancy sitting in front of Dr. Stevens. And Dr. Stevens, being a coveted spiritist, took a few moments, paused, studied Lurancy, and he thought carefully about his next question. Eventually, he looked up at her and he asked to identify herself. And she replied, quote, my name is Mary Roff. Crazy.
Wow.
Tie it all the way back in. You thought it got tied in to the top with Asa, Mary's father. Nope. Mary came back from the dead inside Lurancy. That's like a double knot.
Yeah.
Double knot. Double tie it. Tight. So upon this revelation, the Roff family was immediately notified of what was going on in Dr. Stevens' findings. They made their way to the Vennum household with what I think is fair, a healthy amount of skepticism.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Especially Mary Roff's mother. However, once they were able to spend time with, quote, Lurancy, during this time period, all of that skepticism melted away. While channeling Mary, the spirit of Mary, Lurancy was able to immediately identify them and went through a long list of facts, information, and stories that they felt only their lost daughter Mary could have possibly known. Beyond simply making it clear who she was, Mary told everyone that she wasn't here to replace Lurancy. She was being truthful. She was here to help. She was here to make Lurancy better. Now, she would be the one controlling Lurancy's body and temporarily taking it over, while in the meantime, Lurancy's spirit would rest and heal from those symptoms.
So this is like a rent-to-own kind of thing.
Yeah.
Not
Enterprise.
rent-to-own.
Rent-a-prize.
Yeah, so...
Spirit-a-prize.
Did she get the insurance?
Which one?
The collateral insurance?
I think she's like 1 second away from the insane asylum. So the only thing that Mary wanted, because she felt like she was doing a favor, like, I'm going to control this body while the owner, Lurancy, is healing. What she wanted in exchange was to be able to visit her family. So not only did this come as a major surprise to the Roff and Vennum families, the news of this possession and the remarkable reemergence of a deceased girl spread to the local townspeople, neighbors, and relatives. Somehow... What?
I should think so, yeah.
Yeah, but they could have kept it hush-hush.
They could have.
But somehow, some way, Mary had come back in the form of this ill girl. And those that were in disbelief were dumbfounded when Mary proved that she could identify things that only the true Mary should have known, recognize landmarks, family members, and family secrets.
What are the secrets?
Well, I can't tell you because it's a secret.
Oh, it's silly.
And they didn't tell me. So now it's time to really test the waters here. So yes, it was amazing. Yes, it was remarkable. But they decided to take a step further beyond just simply adhering to Mary's wishes of seeing her family. They were so convinced that this was truly their daughter. This isn't Lurancy playing games, impersonating anyone. This was Mary Ross possessing Lurancy. They made arrangements for a, quote, experiment of sorts. Lurancy, as Mary, was to go live with the Roffs. 1, satisfy her wishes. 2, because obviously the Roff family was awestruck and wanted her back. But 3, also to kind of test and see if there was any chance this was just a very powerful impersonation.
Yeah.
The experiment was instantly a success. To the family, it literally almost felt like a temporary reincarnation of their daughter. While there, she slipped fully into this Mary persona, knowing every detail of the house, where everything was, as well as picking up on skills that Lurancy didn't have, but Mary had in her past life, such as playing the piano, all while interacting with her family as if Mary never left.
Wow.
It's amazing. Well, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, had they changed nothing in the house since the time that Mary had died? Because it's been over a decade.
It's been 12 years, yeah.
So they changed nothing in the house?
I know families that haven't changed anything in a decade. Not to call out.
That's fair.
My family.
Just a thought.
Yeah, I guess, think about it this way. If you lived in the same house for 12 years, like, you might move certain things, but, like, if you have a table, typically a table goes where the table goes, like a TV or a couch. Well, probably not TV at the time, but a couch goes where the couch goes. If they have a piano, they're probably not rearranging it all the time. So unless they bought new things, I would assume it probably wouldn't be that different.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And if this is impersonation, like, massive, massive courage.
Her improv skills were amazing.
It reminds me of The Parent Trap with Lindsay Lohan and Dennis Quaid, where they switch lives.
Yeah, that's a little more lighthearted, though.
This is more lighthearted?
No, the other one is.
Oh, the movie with Dennis Quaid.
Yes.
Who is kind of like Harrison Ford light, in my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I think I've said that on here before, but I stand by it.
I enjoy that movie, though.
Yeah. So naturally, this was amazing. It was unnerving. It was scary. It felt real, yet made no sense at the same time. But there's another interesting fact beyond just Lurancy recognizing all of Mary's friends, family, belongings, the house, picking up the piano. That fact was that Lurancy seemed to have no recollection of her real family.
Oh my God.
Under the possession of Mary, it was like strangers. She was polite, but there was no like, hi mom, hi dad. It was just hello. There was just no, the connection between daughter and parents was gone.
That's so scary.
It is. And I wonder if there was like a little bit of thought in Lurancy's parents' heads, like, what if she doesn't come back?
I know, like, I was thinking, she's gonna like totally Fast and Furious this and like run off with this body.
I don't know. I think in the back of your mind, if you truly believe that this is happening, if you really think that your daughter is possessed and is hidden in there somewhere healing, and this other girl who died 12 years earlier is possessing her, what makes you think that she's ever coming back?
Do they steal cars in the Fast and the Furious? Not to totally derail this.
I have not seen... I know there's like 10 of them.
Yes.
I think there's 10. I haven't seen one of those movies. I have not seen a single Fast and Furious.
I've seen them, but I don't remember what happens.
They drive cars fast. And sometimes there's The Rock, and sometimes there's John Cena,
Gone in
and sometimes
60 Seconds.
there's Vin Diesel.
Yeah, she's gonna totally gone in 60 seconds. This body and sell it to the highest bidder, which in this case is Mary.
What about Get Out?
What? Oh, that's a much better example of this.
Where they're selling the body and the person inside of them.
That's a much better scenario.
Yeah,
example.
There's no racial tension here in this episode.
That's true.
Yeah, so I would, but okay, if this was you and your daughter and you truly believed it, would it if Lurancy never came back, but you knew her spirit was healed, would that make it worth it to you, or would you rather have her and her not spirit healed there? Does that make sense?
Yes, I think this won't be controversial. I don't think, but I think the dead should stay dead. Probably.
Yeah.
So,
but what if she really was healing your daughter? Like you never got to see her again, but you knew she was at peace.
But I mean, like, how do you know that though?
Well, you wouldn't. You're buying. What I'm saying is you're going all in. You're diving head first in the not shallow end.
But forever, she's gone forever.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's bad.
Even if her spirit's healed. I don't know what that means.
Yeah,
no idea
right?
what that means.
You don't. So
she's just literally Mary put one big ass Band-Aid on it. It was like, all right, it's my show now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
She might have literally kidnapped her daughter in her own body.
Yeah. That would be like the days where, you have a lot of time to think. That would be the stuff that'd be trickling in my head. Like, what if it's a lie? I think if I bought into it, I'd be more worried about that than the fact that my daughter is living with these guys faking it.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I'd wait like 2 days, and if I got a phone call from the 1875 phone call from the Roffs, I'd be like, oh, I guess she's not faking it.
Yeah. Daughter,
and then
stop.
You just start thinking like, what if she doesn't come back?
Yeah.
I think that's it's not really discussed in any of the articles, but I just wonder if the family was feeling that.
You'd have to.
Yeah.
Have to.
Because it's a long time. Here's a quote from the father, Asa Roff. Quote, Mary, and they call her Mary, like it's not even Lurancy anymore. Mary.
Yeah.
Mary is perfectly happy. She recognizes everybody and everything that she knew when in her body 12 or more years ago. She knows nobody nor anything whatever that is known by Lurancy. Mr. Vennum has been to see her and also her brother Henry at different times, but she doesn't know anything about them. Mrs. Vennum is still unable to come and see her daughter. It's a little strange.
Yeah.
Maybe she's guilty about the asylum
guilty.
thing.
Yeah.
She's been nothing but Mary ever since she's been here and knows nothing but what Mary knew. She's entered the trance once every other day for some days. She's perfectly happy. She attempted to play and sing as of yore. The songs were the ones of her youth. As we stood listening, the familiar notes were hers, although emanating from another's lips. The effect, however, was only partially successful. Tuning with a smile to the family present, she remarked, I cannot make my fingers work just right. Unquote. So it's there, but it's not fully there, but he sees it. He's seeing this silver lining of, that's my daughter.
That's scary.
It is scary.
That's really scary.
Would you, okay, I'm asking you another question now. No, I'll save it for the discussion.
Okay.
It's such a different time period. I'll be honest, though, that's a quote that it sounds more contemporary than I feel like some quotes from the 1800s. But I wonder if they were even thinking demonic. Like, it feels like Mary, but it's not. It might not be Mary.
I know that you and I are probably thinking demon.
Yeah.
But I don't think they were.
Probably not. Because, like, it could just so easily lie. Like, and we just watched Ouija, The Origin of Evil for our Patreon Netflix party watch.
Yeah.
And it's like, how easy is it for something demonic to impersonate someone else?
Yeah.
So it's like, it took over Lurancy, and to stay taking over Lurancy, it's pretending to be who? Mary, the daughter of the person that convinced her not to go to, like, it was like, not to go to the insane asylum. It was like, if it was demonic, it was perfectly lined up. It's like she was going to go away and never see anyone again. But wait, she was saved by a father of a daughter who also had this experience, who killed herself, and now they're going to keep her, and they're open to people channeling her. Like, I feel like this is like low interest rate in a great neighborhood, location, has a pool, a hot tub, and Demon's like, yeah, I can do this.
Yeah. Stuff's just not quite right, too. It doesn't know how to use a body. It's like, oh.
No, I think, and I think you know, but it was more like they were like, it was a memory of how to play piano, but with just a very untrained hands. It was like muscle memory that you don't have.
It's like I used to know how to play the Heart and Soul song. I couldn't play it now.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I could almost do it.
When was the last time you played guitar?
Oh, well, I don't want to talk about that.
Okay. So this lasted 5 months. 5 months. Your daughter is gone, pretending to be someone else with another family.
That's
for
nearly
5
6 months.
I know I keep putting the demonic on it, and I'm going to stop now. I'm going to wait for the discussion because this isn't a demonic story, and I don't want to keep I don't want to inject something that hasn't been believed or reported.
I wonder if we're putting our own modern spin on that.
Very possibly.
Yeah.
Well, I think I don't know. We record so much and in so many different facets.
Yes.
I feel like at one point in the last month during some segment we did, I think it was you mentioned, and I agreed that we were like, oh yeah, spirit people don't possess other people.
Yeah.
Didn't we literally say that in the last month?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about the Luigi movie.
Yeah, the Ouija movie. I thought you said Luigi.
No.
And
the
then,
Luigi movie.
Yeah, like you were like, humans can't possess other humans. And this episode's like, the hell we can't.
Yeah.
Brother. So it's challenging what we thought, but I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, 5 months, crazy. But one day, Mary, quote Mary, had to bid her family a tearful goodbye, and she returned to the Vennum house with her family.
Such a cool name. It's such a cool name.
Yeah.
Henry Vennum.
Henry Vennum.
That's a goddamn superhero.
Upon her return, the presence of Mary inside Lurancy disappeared forever.
Wow.
Lurancy went back to her old self. But not just her old self. The voices were gone. The fits were gone. The trances were gone. Mary, it seemed, had actually followed through on her word, and she healed Lurancy. Here's a quote from Dr. Stevens. I think he wrote a book, so I think this might be I didn't read the book because I'm not doing that. But this might be a quote. You see, this is either something he just wrote down or it's from his book, but this is from Dr. Stevens. Quote, "The meeting with her parents at the home was very affecting, and now she seems to be a healthy, happy little girl, going about noting things that she saw before she was stricken and recognizes changes that have since taken place. This is a remarkable case, and the fact that we cannot understand such things does not do away with these unaccountable manifestations." Unquote. It was actually Dr. Stevens claiming that this was one of the most amazing cases of a spirit returning and manifestation recorded. He's the one that actually dubbed it the Watseka Wonder.
So you said you weren't going to talk about demons anymore, and that's fair.
In the discussion, we will.
Okay, I have a thought. It's fine.
Fine. Will you remember?
I don't know.
Say it.
All right. So like the demon goes, I'm going to take her back, and she's going to be fixed.
But it's just him.
It
was just the demon.
Yeah. Sorry. All right.
I mean, if it is, then the demon was just laying low for another 73 years. Lurancy went on to live a very reasonable, normal life, and she passed away in 1952.
Wow. At
the age of 87, and was never bothered again by any type of spirit, possession, or trance.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it is. I think the whole idea of the trance is so unusual to me because I read so many different articles about this, and they were all similar yet different. And I think I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, I've seen possession movies that are normally demonic, but the idea of like the, convulsing, your eye, you're moving around, you're losing consciousness. But I feel like, I don't know if this looked the way I'm envisioning it, but I'll never know. But the idea of a trance is probably one of those things that's like, for me, even telling the story, it's a little difficult to grasp. With that said, let's move on to some theories. Okay, so I got 5 theories that have been reported regarding what went down.
Okay.
There's a lot of stuff going on here.
That's true.
Unless you just want to face value, be like, yeah, she totally was being possessed by spirits.
No.
And then, the girl died and then she came back and she's like, no, I got this fam, chill, I'm gonna go chill with my fam.
That's just
she went up for 5 months. And then, she came back and she's like, all right, peace. And then Lurancy's like, I'm good. I'm going to die when I'm like 90.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you believe all that, then you would buy into the
I'm interested in the theories.
Okay. First theory is essentially what I just said, possession. Like it's just supernatural. It was exactly as we heard thus far on this podcast. Lurancy and Mary's family claimed to experience this. She had medium-like abilities, was possessed by multiple spirits. The main one being Mary, who was able to heal her. The evidence that she was able to assume the identity of a deceased woman and claim details and mannerisms that she never allegedly met shouldn't have known, was able to roam a house. Pretty much, like, this is just buying into the details of the story, this tale of possession. If you buy it at face value, then this is your theory.
Okay.
The second theory is very close. Very, very close. It's channeling spiritual energy. It's the idea that it wasn't a straight up possession, like the intentional aspect of I'm going inside of you. More so that Lurancy was just a vessel for other spirits to channel their energy through. So actually, you know, it's okay, not intentional in that they intentionally didn't go in Lurancy, but Lurancy didn't have the ability to like draw in. Like it wasn't like I'm in control or I'm a medium and I'm calling out to you, you're coming into me and you're possessing me. It's more like she was like a kind of like a canal, like they just could go through. Like she channeled just energy that was around her and came by.
With what Mary had said while inside of her, that makes more sense to me because that would probably cause more damage, I think.
The spiritual, the channeling?
Yeah, because she wouldn't be able to control it. It might hurt her emotionally. That makes more sense to me.
Yeah. So less of a possession, more of a manifestation of energy by the spirits. It's energy based. The next one, dissociative identity disorder, which used to be called multiple personality.
Yeah.
Essentially, that's what it is. Which is a great movie with John Cusack, if you've ever seen it.
Not.
Had the late and I would say great Ray Liotta in it too.
There's a more recent one, M. Night Shyamalan Split.
Yeah, that's true. That's probably, this one I think came out in like 2003, 2006. It's a really good movie about John Cusack and all these people arriving at a motel, and then there's like a killer among them. But you have to go check it out. But some folks believe that Lurancy may have suffered from DID, dissociative identity disorder, condition in which a person experiences multiple distinct identities or personalities. So the idea is that her behavior was the result of a split in her consciousness, rather than possession or channeling spirits.
Okay, there's a lot of questions with that, though.
Sure, like how is one of her personalities exactly a girl that died 12 years ago?
Yeah.
Unless it was just so similar that, like...
It's the same song she sang when she was a kid.
Well, I don't know. Maybe
common songs, I guess.
The one thing I forgot to say is that Mary was her pen pal. She would have been 1 year old when,
she was very young.
Died. Yeah. Another theory is conversion disorder, that Lurancy may have suffered from conversion disorder, a condition in which psychological stress is expressed through physical symptoms such as seizures, changes in speech, and tremors. So this theory believes that her behavior was actually a manifestation of psychological distress rather than possession or channeling spirits.
Everything that's not spiritual based is going to have the same question.
Yeah. But this is explaining her symptoms. Okay, I hate to say it. This would be like, this explains her symptoms, but doesn't explain her intention of pretending to be other people.
Right.
Except maybe for the idea of just avoiding. Maybe she didn't want to go to an insane asylum and she's speaking. Okay, let me put you in that situation. So you have something that's causing you to have seizures, convulsions, and you can't explain it. Maybe you can't explain. So you're psychologically distressed and your speech is weird and you're having convulsions and maybe you're hearing voices. And your parents are talking about putting you in an insane asylum.
And you're like, whoa.
Yeah,
whoa,
but then
whoa.
a guy comes and is like, no. She's not, or you're not. You're not insane. You're just channeling spirits. You're a medium. And you're like,
and
this is how I avoid the insane asylum. Yes, in fact, I am a medium.
And I'm going to go live with you.
Yeah. Well, first she's doing like the German person and the little kid. But like during these sessions with Steven, but I mean, guaranteed when Asa Roff came to defend her and stop them from sending her away, he mentioned Mary.
Yeah.
So she heard that name. She heard that story.
But still same
I'm not saying I believe this. I'm just making a case for it because on its own, standalone, the final theory is a combination of hysteria and impersonation. So psychologist Frank Sargent Hoffman claimed that Lurancy was a typical case of hysterical impersonation, that's a quote, and claimed that there was no evidence that she had knowledge that she could not have obtained by normal means. In addition, claimed that it was possible that the grieving Roff family wanted it to be Mary. They did everything they could in their power to believe that this actually could have been their daughter. Like, it wasn't just like, yes, they were skeptical initially, but deep down they wanted to be her. And then once that inkling kind of blossomed, it's like, okay, it is. Okay, it is. It's like making it work, making it fit, making this actuality become a reality.
Right. So she's like a rhombus, but like you need to get into a square hole.
I wish I would have said it. I was like, it's literally like a rectangle and they're trying to fit in the square to make it work.
Not quite right, but like
it'll do. For 5 months, it'll do.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I have pushback on it.
But then, it also comes down to, hysteria. Hysteria can cause someone, symptoms of convulsions, altered consciousness, and changes in speech. So there's the argument that maybe it was intentional, but also if she was suffering from hysteria, that it was this altered consciousness where she started believing herself that she was married to.
I think for all those that aren't, spiritual, how do they just stop after 5 months? Also, the last one.
Can I answer that?
Go ahead, yeah.
My answer would be that she did what she thought she needed to do to not go to the insane asylum and to prove it. So the easiest way out was what it was. Hey, Mary said, my job's all done. Lurancy's cured. I'm out. Bye. I'm healed.
And she just stops having seizures?
Well, the seizures would have to be part of, I guess, that's a very good point. Yeah. Because it's like, what brought the seizures about?
Yeah.
Probably was just possession. So that's a lot. We have a whole story. We got Mary. We got Lurancy. We got theories. Let's take it to the discussion. All right, before we get to the discussion, we would like to stop the episode and thank our newest patrons who are at the recording of this episode: Brianna, Jacob, Dez, Alex, Hunter, and Ahoy. I like that one.
Is that a pirate?
I don't know.
I guess so.
I'm actually, okay, Ahoy, I believe, if it's like Chips Ahoy, is AHOY. This is AHOI.
Oh, okay.
It still feels like Ahoy to me.
Okay.
Ahoy.
Could be.
Arr.
Yar.
All right, Charlie, there is a lot happening in Patreon. We're even looking at adding a new segment now. But that said, why don't you mention a couple things that you really like about Patreon and what you want the listeners as of right now to know about?
Absolutely. So a couple things I want to showcase at any level on the Patreon. Let me back up. You've probably noticed that we've got more commercials, probably more than we've had in a long time.
Ever.
It's good for us. It's helping us grow the podcast in a way that we haven't been able to do before, and we're thankful for them. However, if you want to listen to these episodes with no commercials, zero.
Even the ones we add ourselves.
Yeah.
None. Dunzo ads.
Those are fun. But besides those, and not even those, if you want to listen to it without any commercials at the base level, $2 a month, you can join our Patreon and get all those episodes commercial free.
Yep. And let's bounce. So here's something I'd like to suggest. It is a monthly watch party. I don't know about you, listener. I know Charlie's not quite, but that's okay. I love horror movies. I watch them like popcorn. Like if I sit down, I got downtime, I'll knock 3 out in a row.
I do like movies though.
You love movies, yes. But I'll knock out like 3 horror movies in a row, forget what the first one was. Doesn't matter. Building the BTU website, I knocked out so many horror movies. It's my favorite pastimes. I watched sci-fi growing up. We, every month, go on Netflix and do a watch party through Teleplay so we can all chat. Everybody in the Patreon can, well, in the dedicated tier, can jump in. We watch the movie in real time together and we chat about it. Jokes, what we think's going to happen. You guys get to vote on what the movie's going to be. It's a great time, and I get to share my love of horror movies, which is fantastic.
And speaking of our dedicated tier, the next thing I wanted to showcase is, I believe this is coming out on the same day as our Google Hangout. So tonight, you can join us on Google
Meet?
The Google Classroom. Tyler?
Oh. That is if you're listening right now as this episode drops.
Yes. Right now, as this episode drops, you can join us tonight on Google Meet.
What is the date today?
The 21st.
The 21st of February, 2023. So I know some of you are already listening in the future.
Timestamped.
2024.
That's great.
I hope it's awesome. I hope the trains are finally chilled. And
I hope they build that really fast train.
Imagine that derailing in Ohio.
That would just go fly off into the sun.
Into the sun.
But yeah, so come join us tonight, because that's something where we get to talk to people who are it's the people that are really interested in getting to know us, and we get to know them, and we build this community, and I like it a lot.
And I'm not to try to hype it up even more because Patreon doesn't like this word. I'm actually gonna beep it because you don't need to know. But during the Google Meet is when we do our way. So if you want to potentially win our way, that's when to do it.
Absolutely.
But that said, let's get back to the possession of Lurancy Vennum. Charlie, there's so much to go into here, and I know we kind of already touched on some of it.
Yeah.
Do you want to go back to Demon at all, or do you just want to leave it?
Do you want to go back to Demon?
Okay.
Yeah. It could totally be a demon.
Is it interesting that no one questioned? I guess it is of the times, right?
Yes.
Like they probably, if they would have watched Ouija, Origin of Evil, they might have thought.
That wasn't Demon, though.
You know what? You're right.
Any other horror movie.
There's actually, there's a movie, I think the movie about this or inspired by this is called The Possession. And I feel like that has a demon. But yeah. I haven't seen, if I've seen that movie, I don't remember or don't recall.
It's just, I could easily, what's weird to me though is that no exorcism happened. She walks away scot-free. Well,
there was no, the religious entity in this was the physician.
Yeah. He just kind of observed.
He just kind of observed, took notes, wrote a book, named it Watseka.
Nothing scary happened. No, the scariest thing was her name being said.
Yeah, I would assume if we witnessed the convulsions and, you know, your son or daughter claiming to hear people call them or pretending to be other people.
Yeah.
Like there's definitely scary elements to it, but just not in like the horror movie
one's
fashion.
Hurt though.
No one's hurt.
No signs of
Mary got hurt, but that was the point.
Well, that's not. There's no signs of like evil. There's no smells.
No.
There's no flies.
No flies, no scratching, no smells, no unusual noises besides voices. But I mean, there's so many different theories, and none of them involve demon. And there's no exorcism. It was just the guy was observing.
Yeah.
He pretty much saved her from going to the insane asylum, which is amazing. But it's almost like every theory could just be negated if it was a demon. And with it being a demon, it fits, except she lives a normal, happy life without an exorcism and nothing happens.
Yeah.
Unless it's the laziest, most dormant demon in the world. It's Key and Peele.
Yes.
From that Key and Peele movie, Will and Wilbur and Wendell. And,
oh yeah.
What's the Wendell and
Wild?
Yeah. If it's those demons, maybe.
I'd say Anna and Michelle. Anna Michelle?
What is that?
The German possession.
Annalise Michelle.
She's just like super jealous of this possession.
Why couldn't I get that demon?
Yeah.
So that would be the reason I would, other than the fact that no one else questioned it. Like we're literally putting something on the story that doesn't exist.
We are. We both are.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Because of what we've read, what we've heard, other stories. Like we are influenced and biased.
Mm-hmm.
If you hear possession, you don't typically think, oh, it was another human that died.
Right.
That's going to heal her body and go live with her family for 5 months.
Right. You think demon doing a trap.
Yep.
Doing a trap? Making a trap.
Creating a trap.
Yeah, that's better.
Making trap music through Lurancy's body.
Oh,
but that would be the only, because I think it could be conniving enough to convince everybody one thing and then, you know, pretend to be another person, Mary, and make it seem like it is Mary in the house. All these other people could just be making up.
It seems too good to be true. And I think that's also another bias of ours is it seems like it's too good to be true.
Storybook ending. Well, that's why it's the wonder, not the bad.
The horror.
The horror.
I guess we can talk about your theories, because there's two theories that I like and the other ones don't.
Okay, so there was possession, channeling spiritual energy, dissociative identity disorder, conversion disorder, and Hysterian impersonation.
Yeah.
Which ones would you like to talk about?
The first two make sense to me because of how well it seemed like the other girl was there.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me that she made it up enough where the family was like, it's okay. Oh, that's what I was going to say earlier, that the family wanted it in the last theory. They wanted it. It was 12 years ago. They've probably done a lot of their grieving.
They moved on. Like this girl.
I mean,
again?
not so callously.
Brothers, like, do I have to give him my room? Ugh.
I don't mean that as callously as that.
Like, welcome home, do the dishes. You remember where the laundry is? Yeah, great. All right, we need to go do a cycle.
I do think there is some. I don't think they're hurting for it. If it had been like a year, then maybe.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine losing a daughter or a son. So I don't know. Even in 12 years, what that would feel like. I think it's a mix where I feel like they'd be so like, I feel like it would be an extreme where it's they're either looking for a mistake, looking for a mess up.
Yeah.
Like there's no way this is possible. There's no way this is my daughter. This is somebody faking it, which I don't know if they'd let them in the home under that circumstances, but I feel like it's either very highly critical under a lens or just kind of like blending everything that happens to let it, like we were talking about the square and the, the circle or whatever, the peg. So like, no matter what happens, we want this to be our daughter so badly that we're willing to overlook any little details that maybe don't match up.
I would be, let's do this. Like say this is one of my parents in a body of another person. I'd be so scared.
Yeah.
I'd be so scared I could not.
But you're thinking demon and they're not.
Well, we have those biases.
We do have biases. I don't blame you because, you just can't. We've seen so many movies and things about people impersonating and it's just not right.
Yeah.
But I feel like 5 months is a long time.
It is.
To convince a family. And she was 19 years old. So it's not like she was like 4.
Well, who was?
Mary.
Yes.
Mary was 19 when she died.
Yes.
So that's a long time to like, there's a lot for her to be able to know the secrets, to be able to hold a conversation. Like even 12 years later, I feel like a father would be able to know whether this conversation I'm holding is with my daughter or somebody who knew a little bit. And this is the 1800s. Mm-hmm. There's no Google.
Right.
Let me go on Mary's Facebook and see what her last.
Probably not books either.
20. There's books, but not about Mary. Like they didn't.
Right.
It wasn't about girls that went to insane asylums.
Yeah, I know there are books.
I don't know what you meant by that.
I mean, there's no books about their family secrets.
Maybe that's they just let everything out. What if one of the family members coached her on it to make it fit? Like the brother.
That really fits into the square peg round hole.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, then we mentioned there was the idea that she really was suffering. She was so close to going to an asylum and she thought this was her only out.
Yeah.
But that still doesn't understand, like, faking until you make it. If it was like a day or like, Lurancy spent a weekend with the Roffs, it's like, okay, maybe somehow for 48 hours she, faked it until she made it.
Yeah.
But 5 months?
Yeah.
And you know how exhausting that, I guess if it's for your life, if you have to do what you have to do to not go to an asylum, sure. But
like, to me, this feels almost like some kind of proof of this being able to happen.
If you believe in it as face value, that it was possession, channeling, spirits, and everything that is detailed in the story was true, then I agree. I think it's hard to not believe in, the idea of spirits and coming back. And
yeah,
I don't know. I can see both sides, and both sides are difficult to believe for various reasons.
Yeah, exactly.
But something happened.
Absolutely.
It's not fiction. So Charlie, where on our believability scale from believable to viable to skeptical to unbelievable, where on that scale do you, I almost said battle believable, where do you land with the possession of Lurancy Vennum, the Watseka wonder?
I was just thinking that. I was just thinking about where am I going to place this?
And it's under the lens that it's possession. That's the lens that we're looking at for believability.
You know what? I'm going to go full believable.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm going to put my name on that 100%. I believe it happened.
Hot.
Yeah.
Listen, I so badly want to and you can mess with the story to see ulterior motives and her being like, I need to save myself. And maybe it was hysteria and that's where the convulsion, it couldn't be okay. Other than the possession and the channeling, it could not be just one of those other theories. Why would she, unless she was faking the convulsions too? Maybe it was, I need attention. I'm not getting enough attention. I'm a 13-year-old girl. There's no MySpace yet.
It's a lot of attention.
Well, but I think she hit a point where she's like, oh crap, I messed up.
She's the best improver ever.
She needs attention and she's doing these things to gather attention and she's not feeling well.
Yeah.
And maybe she starts believing it herself. It could be that type of, it starts out as her messing around, but then it turns into something else, or she really is experiencing some illness that treats itself over time. But she starts buying into it. And then there's also a theory that I didn't include where it was hypnosis, and it was claiming that Dr. Stevens kind of convinced her that she was a medium and convinced her that she was, it's kind of like the,
like the reversion, not reversion.
Yeah, the manic, what was it? The satanic panic?
Yeah.
it was kind of like he put it in her head. Yeah, you're a medium.
Yeah.
These spirits are coming. Wait,
don't you think that you're a medium?
Do you hear that? What are you hearing? Are you hearing something right now? Is there a voice?
Don't you hear the voice saying, I am Mary? Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't mention it because I don't know how much weight it held, but now that we're here, it's kind of like, What I'm saying
After
is,
Charlie said believable, I'm going to make him look stupid.
No. What I'm saying is that there are ways that you could try to manipulate the story to make it so that it's not, but it's almost easier to believe that it is. And I think that I'm not going believable. I think there's a leeway. The biggest thing for me is 5 months, man.
Yeah.
5 months faking it, unless this is the most dense
She is sweating
family.
every night. She is.
Then, I mean, if they just like did not pay attention to Mary, like, oh, she was a girl. Oh my God, she also used the bathroom.
Yeah.
Makeup,
just like Mary.
Yeah, so maybe unless it was the most neglected daughter, they did send her to an asylum. But I'm going to go viable. And I think one day if we do this as a director's cut, it'll be between skeptical and viable.
Yeah.
Because I think the more rationally I think about it, I think I could dip down to a skeptical. But right now I'm feeling high. I'm feeling good. You just went believable. So.
It's so hard for me to like 5 months, and they weren't like, no, that's not.
And not even the 5 months, but the mannerisms.
Yes.
Like being able to play the piano, to know the songs, to know the secrets. Like if this happened in 2023, there's research that someone could do.
Yeah, you can go online. You can find out their life.
You could take someone's identity. In the 1870s, I mean,
right.
That's like Dewey Decimal System.
Unless she was a witch and had a familiar that told her everything.
Familiar was one of the other ones I almost picked instead of Druid, by the way.
Oh.
Druid is a category of demon.
Is it? Oh, it's a genie.
Druid?
Yeah.
You didn't think about that during the quiz, though.
I did not. You're right.
That's fine. That is the possession of Lurancy Vennum. All right. Well, thank you everybody so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll be honest, I thought this was going to be a little bit scarier during the initial research, and the more you did, you're like, wait, damn, this is actually a really nice story.
Yeah, it's a nice story.
It's a happy ending.
Ends happily. Yeah.
Which is okay. I think it's
happy
good.
endings are great.
Yeah, you're right. It's maybe not always for us on this podcast, but in the real world, a happy ending is fantastic.
It's also a wild story too. It's
crazy.
Yeah.
So I hope you enjoyed that. We appreciate you listening. Remember, if you're looking for a little bit of extra bonus content, we are on Patreon. We have 3 tiers, a $2, a $5, a $10. We're looking at adding more segments as we speak. And remember, we know there are more ads on this podcast than there used to be. You can literally avoid every single ad ever on our lowest $2 tier and joining Patreon.
And if you want to join a community without necessarily joining Patreon, we do have a free Discord you can join.
It's bumping in there.
There's a lot of people. It's a lot of fun. We're there sometimes.
Yeah, it's not all about the podcast either.
No way.
There's stories, there's other paranormal things, people sharing experiences.
A lot of great people on there.
There's a not safe for work channel now. I don't dip in there too much, but it is a great community, and it's really it's grown so much beyond the podcast that I think is amazing. Shout out Jalen for setting that up for us.
Absolutely. And you enjoyed this episode, you would do us a big favor if you could just go on Spotify and leave us a 5-star, and or go on Apple and leave us a review and a 5-star.
And if you own a nice fashionable gas mask and you'd like to send it to Charlie and I so we can walk outside during this train derailment,
we'd totally appreciate it.
Listen, my mom was texting me the day after it happened, and I didn't even hear about it around that time. And it was like this concern of like, maybe you shouldn't go outside, like, and it felt so dramatic. Yeah. But I'm like 56 miles away, 57 miles away from it.
You're like, I don't go outside anyway.
I don't anymore. I work from home. But there are people claiming 70 miles away to have experienced acid rain and having, I think it was either fish that were dying, and they're attributing it to the chemicals.
Wow.
So there's a massive radius. It's scary. Not to dwell on that again. I know that the episode ended on a happy note, so I'm not trying to bring it down, but just trying to bring awareness, because I feel like it is getting coverage, but I feel like not as much as it should, because this is pretty dramatic.
Yeah.
But that said, thank you everybody for listening. We appreciate you. We hope you enjoyed the episode. And as always, I'm Tyler.
And I'm Charlie.
And catch us next week on Believing the Bizarre.
Podcast as bizarre as you are.